Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch is brought to you by Nedbank.
Transact with Nedbank and stand a chance to win a 5,000 Emalangeni trolley dash. To qualify, do any of the following. Tap or swipe your Nedbank card for purchases a minimum number of 10 times in 2 weeks, or send cash to any local cell phone number a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks, or withdraw cash using Nedbank cashback at till at any OK Foods outlet a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks. It could be you, so start today. For more information, please visit nedbank.co.nz, call or send us an email. See money differently. Nedbank.
All right, it has just gone a minute after 2 p.m. and that means it is time for Nedbank Business Watch. And today it is going to be a really, really interesting program for you as we have Toba Kamete, Treasury Sales Manager with Nedbank Eswatini, discussing Nedbank's foreign exchange suite of solutions. We want to discuss everything that has to do with their foreign exchange solutions. It's quite a lot, but it's going to be really interesting because it's going to complement our financial analysis today, which we are seeing really, really interesting movements with the United States dollar, as well as the Lilangeni, as well as the European pound, as well as the Eswatini Lilangeni exchange rates showing slight increases, indicating potential strengthening of these currencies against the Swazi Lilangeni. What are the factors or the data influencing that? Toba is going to answer that. On the commodities side, we are seeing that gold prices are on the rise, while there is a decrease in Brent crude oil prices. What does this tell us about the global demand and supply, and how does it impact oil-producing nations' economies? We'll also look at equities with Toba Kamete. What is really interesting there today is that the S&P 500 is experiencing a positive movement, and the FTSE indicates strong performance in the UK market. You do want to stay tuned. My name is Fiso Ngumalo. Welcome to Nedbank Business Watch.
Yeah, again, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. It is Nedbank Business Watch. My name is Lungelele Makakula. The Governor, Dr. Phil Mnisi, participated in the second edition of the Dubai FinTech Summit, which is known as the DFS, hosted by the Dubai International Financial Center yesterday. The DIFC is a recognized leader in FinTech innovation. It is a two-day event attended by policymakers, innovators, and influencers. It presents an opportunity for the bank to learn from other countries and stay abreast on the latest fintech developments. We will have a discussion on fintech innovation with our in-house economist Sanile Sibia later on the program. We also want to talk about how should the central bank explore central bank digital currency. So do stay with us. For now, let's take a look at business news. Welcome back. This is our news. The Eswatini Horticulture Information System has over 1,200 registered farmers, which has helped the National Agricultural Board Marketing to be able to regulate demand and supply. The Chief Executive Officer, Begizwe Mazia, says they are now considering having a database for traders.
The Eswatini Horticulture Information System is an inter-agency platform to enhance food market transparency and policy response to food security, according to NAMBOD. We asked the Chief Executive Officer how the system has performed since its launch a year ago.
Since commencement of the program, we have already received a total registration of 1,260 farmers who have registered. 500 of them are not contracted to NAMBOD, and 757 are contracted to NAMPOD. May I be quick to also mention that it is not only the contracted farmers with NAMPOD that are required to register. Even those that are not contracted to NAMPOD are expected to register. The main purpose of this system was for us to be able to have quality data as NAMPOD so that we are in a position to determine the volume of produce that is available from our local farmers in terms of their various commodities, so that we are able to determine whether that production is sufficient to feed the entire markets, both internally and externally. It also enables us as NAMPOD to be able to play our regulatory function so that we are able to determine whether we can still allow importation of particular commodities or suspend importation according to the availability of the produce on the ground. The main support or assistance that the farmers get out of the system, it is that it is not necessary for them to sell their produce through NAMPOD. Through the AHIS system, the markets are able to enter into the system and view availability of produce and the location where those farmers are, so that they are able to conduct the farmers directly without having to go via NAMPOD. So that is the first benefit that farmers are expected to get out of that. The agro dealers as well, those are the input suppliers, are also able to identify the farmers and their location and take the initiative to go to the farmers, as opposed to the farmers having to go and scout for farming inputs from the agro dealers.
The Executive Director of Eswatini National Agricultural Union, Lwazi Mamba, urges farmers to register under the system as it is meant to organize them and provide accurate data and in turn markets. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Manzini.
The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Philip Nisi, says the central bank has embarked on a number of initiatives to embrace innovation, and that includes the revision of the National Payment Systems Act, as well as the National Payment Switch Project, amongst others. This is to mitigate risks that come along with emerging technologies. The governor shared this in Dubai during the FinTech Summit, which is hosted by the Dubai International Center.
Global finance giants gathered at the Dubai FinTech Summit organized by the Dubai International Financial Center, which was held from Tuesday. This summit is aimed at reshaping the landscape of FinTech investments among financial industry leaders, ensuring collaborative efforts in crafting tools, regulations and frameworks that will shape the future of FinTech and finance. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Phil Mnisi, formed part of the panelists discussing the role of central banks in the future economy. The panelists under this topic all agreed that central banks need to ride on the innovation wave and change some of their regulatory approaches to ensure risk introduced by emerging technologies is mitigated. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini highlighted that there are initiatives aimed at embracing innovation. These include the revision of the National Payment Systems Act, the National Payment Switch Project, the Regulatory Sandbox, the Central Bank Digital Currency Research and Development Project, and the impact of innovation on financial inclusion journey of the country. Some of the topics during the summit included the future of fintech and finance, ensuring a level playing field, banks versus fintech, future of wealth management and private banking, and decoding cryptocurrency to govern and thrive. For Nedbank Business Watch, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Yeah, it's 9 minutes after 2. We'll go for an ad break. When we come back, we have a discussion with our in-house economist, Mr. Sanelis Bia. Stay with us.
Ujala masoda mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengaloku
Sibile sive sitikhulumeni.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch. Thank you for staying with us. We shall continue with the program. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Phil Mnisi, says the central bank has embarked on a number of initiatives to embrace innovation, including the revision of the National Payment Systems Act and the National Payment Switch project, amongst others, to mitigate risks that come with emerging technologies. The governor shared this in Dubai during the FinTech Summit hosted by the Dubai International Center. To have this discussion further on this story, I'm joined via Zoom by our in-house economist, Mr. Sanele Sbia. Thank you for joining us on our program, Nedbank Business Watch. Very good afternoon to you, Mr. Sbia. We are talking about the summit that the governor attended 2 days ago on technologies that central banks should embark on. What is the role of central banks in the future economy?
Thank you, Lulu. Thank you for having me. So one of the issues that we constantly worried about in the current economy, we are seeing the advent of, fintech and really taking up space. So what we've been asking ourselves as economists is, what role will the central bank have to play when money does eventually change to a public ledger system? So for central banks to really stay afloat and really be able to conduct their business of actually controlling the money supply in the economy and also controlling issues such as inflation and interest rates, the central banks do need to evolve if they are going to be place in the future. And that's where we see fintech, and that's where we see digital currencies coming into play. Because what fintech is doing is it's taking away quite a lot of the money. For example, we have Eswatini, most of them who are not banked, but they do have mobile money accounts, they do have your Unayo accounts, they do have your bank accounts anymore, but they would still have access to financial services, which bodes well for financial inclusion. But in terms of the central bank being able to control certain things like the inflation in the country and interest rates and all of those things, then the central bank would have a bit of a little role or a lesser role in terms of that. But what we are seeing currently with the fintech innovations that are currently in the country is the fact that all transactions happen in those innovative means are still working or backed by real money that's printed by the central bank. So you need to have that money into your different accounts. But what we are looking at as well is, we are seeing fintech also not necessarily playing a role in terms of money creation and loan creation. For example, you could simply just apply for a loan in your mobile money account, and then you are deposited with that money. So we're seeing fintech taking that space and really moving further into the lending business, which was something that was that's how the central bank could actually control the money supply in the economy and thereby controlling inflation. Same thing we are seeing, with the payment system. We know there's Samsung Pay, there's Alipay. There's quite a number of payment systems, there's Unayo Pay. So literally, the central bank is actually losing a bit of that power in terms of controlling the entire payment system. So evolution is actually quite necessary for the central bank to stay relevant in the future. Otherwise, if central banks do not evolve and they stay as they are today, we are going to have a problem in the near future, which is why we do commend the efforts to try and make sure that the central bank evolves. That's purely because, what we're noticing with fintech is at the present moment, regulation is not moving as fast as fintech is moving. So regulation is really just trying to move with fintech, but fintech is 10 or 12 steps ahead. So without regulation, we know that, there would be a lot of catastrophic factors. For example, you are investing, probably using a bot or something. There is just no way to control, having those controls in place to make sure that the robot does not make risky decisions with your money, and also to make sure so that in the event you do lose your money, what means can actually be taken into place, and what your capital requirements. So we are seeing technology moving away from the traditional banking system that we know, and regulation is not moving at the same pace, which is why it is critical for the central bank to actually evolve.
Yeah. So one of the objectives of this summit was to look into, the initiatives to mitigate technology risks. Why is it crucial for the Central Bank of Eswatini to learn from other countries and just stay abreast on the latest fintech developments? Was it beneficial for the Central Bank of Eswatini to attend this Dubai summit?
Yes, it was purely and completely beneficial for the central bank to attend, because the problem of fintech is a global problem, and the problem of regulation, again, is a global problem. It is not something that Eswatini alone is facing. And you find that other countries have actually found ways of trying to regulate. I mean, for example, if we could push digital currencies, that would actually allow the central bank to be able to regulate fintech. And also, with the multiple cross-border payments, with, when you talk of, for example, Samsung Pay, we do not know where the country, the domicile for those transactions. You talk of Alipay. Alibaba is in China, and that's where you need to go to actually get some regulation around. So it's a global problem. It does require concerted action globally, not just countries working in silos. Thank you.
Yeah. So how then should the Central Bank of Eswatini explore central bank digital currency? Would it affect monetary policy, especially in an environment with high interest or financial market stress, such as the economy of Eswatini?
All right, thank you. So what we know with digital currencies, central bank digital currencies, is they utilize what we call a private ledger. So a private ledger would be completely and purely in control, and controlled by the person who issued that currency, compared to cryptocurrencies where you have a public ledger. So in terms of cryptocurrencies, everyone would be able to see what is happening within that space and be able to intervene. So a digital ledger would allow the central bank to stay a private ledger allows the central bank to stay relevant, and still be in control of monetary policy, and still be able to influence the things that you're raising, saying, how now do we control the economy in a high interest rate environment? The central bank could simply have direct control on the money supply, because if they search digital currency, the central bank would be able to alter how much money people have. And if there's need to increase money supply, the central bank would increase that money supply directly, either to the banks or through direct deposits to people. So those are the things that we need to look into. What is the approach that we are going to have to take as a country to ensure that we have control over monetary policy? Because monetary policy is still relevant today, but without that control, really, there is just going to be a new economy entirely, and nobody's going to have control over that economy. And as we've seen with public ledger listed currencies, we know they are highly volatile at present. Bitcoin can be 1 million today, and tomorrow it's going to be 200,000. That's what we are seeing, such that everyone knows there's going to be a bull run, and then there's going to be that time where it's so very much bearish. So there is need for the central bank to go through the digital currency route and actually ensure that they still have control over the money supply and the flow of money and the velocity of money in the economy, to avoid that volatility, because volatility is not good for the economy. You don't want to wake up today with 1 million and then tomorrow your million is worth 200,000.
Yeah, all right. Just one last question before I let you go, Mr. Sbia. The IMF says central bank digital currencies can improve payment systems as well as financial inclusion, but if they're appropriately designed, and if not, could they pose risks?
Yes, if not appropriately designed, they would pose quite a number of risks. With digital currencies, in the circles, it's sometimes called a tyrant's dream, because it's that entire private ledger type of thing. So without the right controls in place, the central bank can actually abuse it. And at some point, you will find that it will also open space for external parties to be able to influence the actions of the governor. So we do need to, when we are introducing it, make sure we have the right measures in place, because like we said, Lulu, digital currency would be completely under the control of the central bank. So that means they can increase how much money we have at any point in time in the economy, and they can reduce it at any point in time. But what that would do is it would actually have a much quicker impact in terms of the effectiveness of monetary policy, because currently monetary policy does take a while for the economy to start responding. But digital currencies would give the central bank that opportunity to say, let's just reduce money supply today and stop inflation today. So there are those good aspects of it, but without the proper regulation, it would actually be prone to that manipulation. And in terms of financial inclusion, yes, this would go bounds and bounds into the financial inclusion, purely because it's something that could bypass the banks, because like we know with your mobile money, your other payment methodologies, you don't necessarily need to have a bank account. So it would revolutionize the way we do banking. And, we need to weigh those costs and see how we do, which do we want banks to remain relevant, what's going to happen. But, the payment system, the banking system, and the currency system has evolved time and time again. At present, we can trace right about 4 evolutions that have happened within the monetary sector and actually the banking sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spear, for your insight. That was our in-house economist, Mr. Senelis Spear. So we'll go for an ad break. When we come back, Sfiso sits down with Nedbank's Toba. Stay with us.
Sabadani ukuthi njengalokhu sivile sive sitikhulumeni.
Transact with Nedbank and stand a chance to win a 5,000 Emalangeni Trolley Dash. To qualify, do any of the following. Tap or swipe your Nedbank card for purchases a minimum number of 10 times in 2 weeks, or send cash to any local cell phone number a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks, or withdraw cash using Nedbank cashback at till at any OK Foods outlet a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks. It could be you, so start today. For more information, please visit nedbank.co.nz, call or send us an email. See money differently. Nedbank.
Welcome back. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch. Happy to have you on the program. We're on a very interesting segment now where we welcome Toba Kametse, Treasury Sales Manager at Nedbank Eswatini. We want to delve into the comprehensive suite of foreign exchange solutions. Now, Toba will guide us through international payments, foreign currency accounts, and foreign cash services, detailing currency-supported transaction requirements and accounts benefits. We'll then explore hedging solutions like forward exchange contracts and currency swaps, along with additional value-added services such as market data access and competitive pricing strategies. Join us now as we uncover the tools and insights empowering clients to navigate the foreign exchange landscape with confidence. Toba, welcome to the program. Always happy to have you. It's very different today. Yeah. They are used to having you on our market analysis, but pretty much the same thing, but it's different. Yeah. Not so much on the numbers now. A very, very important discussion we're about to have, foreign exchange solution. What are some of the foreign exchange solutions that Nedbank offers?
Right, good afternoon, Swiso, and our viewers at home. So as Nedbank, from a foreign exchange perspective, we offer our clients international payments. Firstly, that is, our clients can receive or make payments in any of the foreign currencies that Nedbank trades in. These are the three major currencies: the US dollar, the euro, as well as the pound, and the Botswana pula.
Right.
Yes.
And then what requirements are needed for these payments?
So it really depends on the type of payments that the client is making.
Okay.
As a country, we have exchange control regulations that stipulate the supporting documents that a client is supposed to provide when making certain payments. I'll use an example of tuition, for example, where you'll have to provide maybe a acceptance letter or an invoice from the school. If you're importing certain things, you're also required to bring an import permit as well. So it's based on the type of payment that the client is making, of which we are then able to advise the required supporting documents.
Okay, one thing that I've learned, having interactions with the Nedbank personnel, is that a lot of your solutions come with a lot of convenience. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure I'm asking for the viewer here. How long does it take for funds to be transferred to the beneficiary?
Yes, so for international payments, the standard, so we use a SWIFT platform, okay. And the standard for that is 2 working days. But when it comes to foreign exchange, a number of things come into play, one being time zones. If you are transferring to a country that is ahead when it comes to time, then probably your funds will arrive the next day. If you are transferring to a country that's behind, for example, the US, then the funds might arrive same day, but the standard is 2 working days.
And I do have a lot of friends who are in the diaspora,
yeah.
And some are in America, some are right here in South Africa, and they are wondering who is eligible really to open a foreign currency account.
All right, so yes, so that's our next solution, the foreign currency account. So our clients can open an account in any of the 3 major currencies, the US dollar, the euro, and the pound. So they can receive funds into those accounts and transact from those accounts. I think we'll dive into that a bit later on in our discussion. But anyone really who receives foreign currency can open a foreign currency account, because there are certain regulations, like I've said, that say, for an example, you can't transfer from your emalangeni to the dollar account, for example. So it has to be somebody who is constantly receiving foreign currency, maybe an exporter, or maybe, as you've said, you've got friends, so if they're occasionally giving you gifts in foreign currency, then you can receive those foreign proceeds and hold them in that account.
Okay, this is a solution that I should explore. I hope, I won't say your name, I hope you're listening out there in Washington. You better, give me that money through this solution here. Toba, the benefits. I want us to get into the benefits now, the advantages of owning the foreign currency account.
Yes, so I'll start with one. As we know that rates are ever changing. So it happens that you receive your funds today, and the rate is low. Right. And you don't really need to convert your dollars at that particular time. Right. So you can receive them and park them in the foreign currency account and then convert at a later date when the rate is in your favor. That's one of the benefits. Because if you don't have the foreign currency account, then when you receive the funds, we then credit them into your Malangeni account. So you convert at the prevailing rate at that time. So it allows you to maximize on your returns when you convert your currency. Also, as Nedbank, with our US dollar account, we offer credit interest. So if you are holding in excess of 100,000 US dollars, then you're eligible to get credit interest in your dollars. And you can also make payments as well from those foreign currency accounts.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
What supporting documents are required for the sale or purchase of foreign notes?
Yes, so that's our third product. So we offer foreign notes or cash to our clients that are traveling. So you can buy or sell notes in any of the three major currencies, the dollar, the pound, and the euro. What we require is a passport as well as the plane ticket if you'll be traveling by air. If you'll be traveling by road, then it will be your passport, and we're able to offer you those notes. We're also then required, if you come back and you have changed from your trip, you are required to sell that back to the bank within 30 days, and we just require your passport for that.
Yeah, I think you've already touched on the very fact that exchange rates are volatile. I suppose that begs the question then, what hedging solutions do you offer as Nedbank to your clients?
Yes, so so we are quite committed to helping our clients navigate the exchange environment, and to make sure that we are of assistance where we can. So one of the solutions that we have from a hedging perspective is forward exchange contracts. So where we agree on a rate today, for a payment to be made at a specified future date. So, for example, if a client, an importer, has an obligation to make a payment in 3 months, and they would like to hedge out that position and have a defined or certain amount in a malangeni, and they feel that the current rate is in their favor, they can enter into that FEC with the bank, where the bank will commit to sell to them a fixed amount of foreign currency at an agreed rate at a future date.
Really interesting. Forward exchange contracts, FEC.
Yes.
I want us to get to the requirements, but let's go for a net break first. I need to drink some water for this one. Right, welcome back. You're still watching Nedbank Business Watch, and I am still joined by Toba Kameta, the Treasury Sales Manager with Nedbank Eswatini. Before the break, he was explaining a hedging solution to the mere fact that exchange rates are volatile. Toba, as you were explaining that, you did touch on the biggest solution, which is the forward exchange contracts. Maybe let's circle back to that a little bit in defining it and then get to the requirements of it.
All right, thank you. So a forward exchange contract, FEC, in essence, is a contractual agreement between the bank and a client to buy or sell a fixed amount of foreign currency at an agreed rate and at a future date that's agreed. So the rate is agreed today, the amount is obviously fixed, and the date at which the payment will be made or the funds will be received is also agreed up front.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are the requirements? Maybe before even the requirements, let's make an example of when a situation like this would be necessary.
All right, so I will use an example of an importer, someone who imports raw materials to produce a good and then sell in the country. They have been invoiced, say, $100,000, and the conditions are that they have to pay 50% in advance and another 50 in 3 months, for example. They pay the 50 in advance, but now they have this other 50 to pay in 3 months. So they have a non-obligation to pay in 3 months. But they want to minimize the exchange rate risk and lock in the rate so that it doesn't eat into their profits should the rate now go up and they have to then pay the dollars at a higher rate.
What if it goes down though?
So that's
it's still locked.
Yeah, so that's the downside of it. If you enter into an FEC, then you can't participate in the spot market.
Yeah.
So the rate is locked. You are going to pay at that agreed rate. But I think it would be maybe prudent as a start to maybe start partially. So if you've got an obligation to pay 50,000, maybe you can hedge 25 and leave the other 25 open to say, should the rate then move in my favor, at least I'm going to benefit something from
Pray
that
it does
portion.
move in your favor.
Yes.
All right, let's get into the requirements. What are the requirements there?
All right, so firstly, the FEC has to be within 12 months. So the obligation has to be settled within 12 months.
Okay.
And the second one is that there has to be a pre-approved credit limit, FEC limit that's approved by our credit department. Normally, the relationship manager who looks after that client will put through an application to our credit team to say a client would like an FEC. Once that FEC limit is approved, then we're able to enter into such a contract. Then normally the limit is just 10% of the exposure to just guide against any defaults that might occur in the future, and we now need to invoke that. So that's one of the requirements. The second one is we are also required to have a sight of the requirement or the requirement for the FEC from a client's perspective. So it will be your invoice, it will be a contract that they have with their supplier, it will be an agreement. So we do need to see that evidence to say you are taking an FEC for 50,000 to cater for this payment.
Okay, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then I suppose a question that becomes very, very important is there a way for a forex payment covered by an FEC to be paid at an earlier or later stage than the agreed maturity date?
Yes, there is. As we had mentioned earlier, that it is at an agreed date. So should it happen that now delays happen, maybe you need to pay when time of payment comes, you are not ready for some reason, then we enter into a currency swap where we extend that FEC to a further date. Say, for example, I'll use an example of that 50,000. We've entered into a contract. It's now after 3 months. Nedbank has delivered the 50,000 US dollars, but the client is not ready to make that payment. And then the client can enter into a currency swap with us to say, okay, Nedbank, I currently do not need the dollars, but I will need them again in 30 days, for example. Then they sell those dollars back to the bank and buy them back in 30 days. So essentially, that's the currency swap. So there's simultaneous buy and sell of the foreign currency.
I've also heard about the foreign currency account. Does that also work as a solution then?
Yeah, so it works as a natural hedge.
Okay.
If you are an exporter who exports and is paid in foreign currency, and you have a foreign currency account, and it also happens that you import certain things, or you need to make payments again in the dollar. So instead of receiving your proceeds, converting them to your malangeni, and then when you need to make payments, again buying dollars, then you are exposed to the exchange rate risk. So you can use your account as a natural hedge to receive your dollars, and if you need to make payments, pay directly from that account. So then that becomes a one-to-one transaction, and you minimize or you eliminate the exchange rate risk.
Yeah, maybe as a parting question, what other foreign exchange value add does Nedbank offer?
So we have access to research data. We have market updates that we get from our economic research unit, and we are happy to share those with our clients. We also have forecasts as well that we share with our clients to help them with their budgeting and just so they can make informed decisions. When you're entering into that FEC, you have an idea of what the forecast is for that currency that you are hedging. So we do have access to that. And in addition to that, we also offer competitive pricing as well on our deals, on our spot, as well as FEC transactions. I think I would end there for now.
And how do they get a hold of the Treasury Sales Department? Because I would suppose they have to contact you guys directly for such solutions.
Yes, so they can contact us via our email address, the treasury eswatini@netbank.co.za, and they can also call us. Our dealing lines are 3278 1249 and 1273. They can also reach us on our help desk number 3278 1999, and also on our social media platforms. We're there. We can be able to engage in any of our treasury products with our
And I'm
clients.
sure they'll be very happy to engage with you guys and inquire about all these suite of solutions offered by Nedbank Eswatini. There it is. You have to contact Botoba and his department. They are more than happy to help you with all these solutions. Quite a lot of convenience here, I must say. Making me want to get into the business of export trade and really, maybe import a few products. I do see a lot of solutions there. Thank you, Toba. Thank you to you as well, viewer, for staying with us during this segment. Let's go for a net break.
Transact with Nedbank and stand a chance to win a 5,000 Emalangeni trolley dash. To qualify, do any of the following. Tap or swipe your Nedbank card for purchases a minimum number of 10 times in 2 weeks, or send cash to any local cell phone number a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks, or withdraw cash using Nedbank cashback at till at any OK Foods outlet a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks. It could be you, so start today. For more information, please visit netbank.co.za, call or send us an email. See money differently. Nedbank.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Nedbank Business Watch. We continue with our program. Highlights of the latest findings of the Global FinScope Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Survey 2023 shows an increase in these enterprises in the country. This was revealed by the Acting Chief Executive Officer for the Center for Financial Inclusion, James Manyati, during a meeting with the steering committee to give them findings of the survey at Bethel Court at Zuluni.
We engaged as a pack to do 3,500 interviews across the country. We brought on board CSO to do the sample for us. In fact, we brought all the stakeholders that we need to do a national survey. Now we have completed data collection. We are now gathered today here to present what we call top-line findings to the members of the steering committee. We have gathered the data, we have analyzed the data. We are now presenting the top-line findings to the members of the steering committee. Now, why the steering committee? It's because at the present moment we are not launching the findings. We are just presenting progress in terms of what we have found when we analyze the data. We could talk to a few things that we have found. One, in 2017, the MSMEs in total were around 60,000. Now they have grown, not so much, but we have seen growth in terms of the numbers when it comes to MSMEs in the country. That is encouraging. It means Swazis are starting small businesses, which is going to contribute significantly to economic growth. But we have seen a decline in terms of the MSMEs that are using banks. We are yet to establish what is causing that, but we have seen a decline in that indicator. We have also seen the impact or the negative effects of things like your COVID-19.
James Manyati, that is the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Center for Financial Inclusion, Asniketanje Sitfombe, on a survey that was made on SMEs. I'm now joined by our business journalist, Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla, to shed more light on the findings of this survey. Thank you, Nelly, for joining us once again, and good afternoon. Welcome to the program. I think what's more important, is the findings of the survey, the 2023 survey. And also, what does government seek to achieve with it?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Lulu Ngivusele nembukele ekhaya. Le survey lena ibaluleke kakhulu, uhulumende usesengakayethuli kahle kahle kusese isurvey lesachubeka kusatobuka info, but ema highlights ayo ngilokuthi ngeminyaka wanga 2017 kuleyo survey le yendiwa ngilokuthi bosomabhizinisi they were just above 59,000, but nyalo bosomabhizinisi labancane sebangu 67,795 kusho ukuthi sebakhulile. Ibalulekile ke le survey lena ngalokuthi itamsita hulumende ukuthi akhone kwati the life of these SMEs lega khona micro small medium enterprises, aphinze ati the challenges and obstacles that these SMEs are facing kulesikhathi lesine ukuthi lawo lasakhulile kahle kahle vele akhule kanjani kangakanani ma SMEs vele yini la vibrant and strong enough to grow the economy, nguphi lapho khona these SMEs will need support.
Yeah, and only that the report or the survey has not been officially launched by the ministry, hence there isn't much of the findings that have been shared. But according to what you were told by the CFI acting chief executive officer, what are your sentiments, on the findings? I did gather ukuthi bashidelo ukuthi vele businesses are khona, but they are not quite sustainable.
Uchazile Lulu nembukele ekhaya kwekuthi vele lamabhizinisi la khona akhona wona kepha awasiwo lamabhizinisi lawa la ngathi asaqinile angakhona ku contribute much to the economy. Uyasho ukuthi these businesses are mainly survivalist businesses kwekuthi nje nangiyendile le business yami ngakhona ukuthi lamhla kube khona lengikutholako ngumikise ekhaya. Uyakuchaza kabantu ukuthi vele these businesses they still need more support even from financial institutions, from government and all the parastatals hulumende lawabekile kwekuthi akhone ukuthi awaside awathuthukise.
Yeah, all right. So let's take a look at the next clip. Lapha ukhuluma ngekuthi these small businesses, micro and small medium businesses need a lot of support.
There's a big difference when it comes to running a business or a small and medium enterprise and doing a small business just for the sake of surviving. It is rather sad to state that most of what we have found on the ground are people who are classified as survivalists. I think it is a challenge to also the business owners to sort of like look for ways in which they can expand their enterprises. Your business should be able to run whether you are there or not. But if it's a business which will not run when you are there or when you are not there, then there's a challenge there. In fact, but to answer your question, most of the businesses, about 80-something% of the businesses are at micro level, which is to say most people are just surviving. They are doing business for the sake of surviving. We always talk about SMEs not being able to access finance from the banks, from the DFIs, or whosoever is providing finance. We must state it clearly that the providers of financial services, as CFI, working with other stakeholders, we have realized that they are willing. In fact, the support for MSMEs is there. One challenge which we have indicated many times is the lack of preparedness of the MSMEs. The financial services providers do have the products, they do have the support, but you need to tick the boxes before you could be granted. So there is a high level of lack of preparedness when it comes to our MSMEs in the country. It's a challenge which we need to deal with. A lot must be done to educate people about keeping records, pricing properly, doing all these things that will satisfy the requirements of the financial services products.
Yeah, the acting CEO speaking about support and how greatly these SMEs need support, Nelly, but are they really getting the support, from government, either financial-wise or trainings on financial literacy, nalenye support?
Small and medium enterprises ayayithola le support kepha-ke the support is not really enough ngoba uyakhanza velelo ukuthi labakushoko ukuthi they are still struggling ikakhulukade etindzabeni tema business plan. I think Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund ibe seyibona ukuthi because we are seeing ukuthi bamfla abaningi requests abo are getting rejected because they haven't really done market research. That is why they are saying we are now hiring consultants. We are now being held by European Union nabo UN. Kuti assessendele market research so that we will see kuti le economic landscape, le market landscape yona kahle kahle vele ifuna ini. Singatikhanzi kuti bamfla abaningi sebenda kakhulu kulima. Gansi they could be venturing into green economy nyalo kwekuthi saloku linywa ngaleti indlela tebuchwephesha ngcono ukuthi sale senda le research isibuke lokwekuthi yini ledingekako so that nalamabhangi atokhona phela lokuthi akhone lokufunda lama projects la viable kungabi nje ukuthi lo muntu uyeta na utoboleka leyo mali kepha ke le project yakhe ayivakali kahle. That is why government nyalo so uzamile ukuthi kulama loan guarantee schemes are relax lama restrictions kwekuthi akungathi phela nangabuto ofuna imali kulama loan guarantee schemes bese mhlambe kufuneka nabo collateral nemali leletulu. Those are some of the things letendiwa ngohulumende netinhlangothi letahlukene like boss said khonyalo sabayatama vele lokuthi bafundzise kabanti ngaleti te business as na FinCorp ushito ukuthi vele kusete le lokuyifuna mbamba le business ikakhulu kuwo eMaswati.
Alright, thank you Nina, thank you for your insight. Quite interesting. Bukelele, let's take a break. Nasibuya sidabe sinathoba udabahleli phansi nasifiso benda market analysis.
Hey you!
Yes, you. Have you paid your TV license?
Did you know that by paying for your TV license fees, you will be complying with the laws that govern television possession, and particularly the Swaziland Television Authority Act of 1983 and its regulations? It is a legal obligation.
Paying for your TV license can have a positive spin-off, as the money collected from TV license fees goes a long way in assisting Eswatini Television Authority procure appealing and relevant content to broadcast on the channel.
So now, these fees also increase purchasing of local content from independent producers, which helps ensure that the arts and film industry in the country is well supported thus far, ensures the creation of jobs for eMaswati. The payment of TV license fees goes a really long way in such endeavors as well as nation building.
A TV license costs 180 emalangeni per year per device, and for other accessories such as a decoder or njinja, it costs 50 emalangeni per device per year.
By paying for your TV license,
you will be doing the right thing.
Right, and welcome back. We are getting into today's financial segment with the Nedbank's Treasury Sales Manager, Toba Gamete. He's back in studio to guide us through the key market indexes. See, the United States dollar and Lilangeni and the euro and Lilangeni exchange rates show slight increases today, while gold prices surge and Brent crude oil prices dip. Let's explore the driving forces behind these trends and their implications. I have Toba right next to me. But here's another one. The positive move movements in the S&P 500 as well as the FTSE. We want to discuss all of that. Toba, welcome to the program again. I think the topic of conversation between me and you today is exchange rates. Let's start there. Foreign exchange. What factors are contributing to the slight increase in the USD SZL exchange rate today?
All right, thank you, Swiso. The dollar is trading slightly higher today, as you have said. One, it's due to souring risk sentiments in the market. Investors are looking at putting their money in more safer assets, like the US dollar, at the back of the conflict in the Middle East. As you can see, it's trading at 18.62 against our Lilangeni.
And when we go to what is happening with the euro now, because it is also showing a small uptick today, is it the same things affecting it today?
Well, it all comes together
Right.
in a way, but I think I can just single out the euro to say inflation numbers for April in the Eurozone came out higher than expected at 2.7% against a market expectation of 2.6%, so signaling that interest rates might be kept higher for longer and thus giving the euro a bit of strength. As you can see, trading at 20.0150 today and the pound at 23.2650.
And let's go to commodities. Really interesting what we're seeing with gold prices happening. They are rising. But what are the implications that could come from that and then have an effect in the global economic stability?
So gold is trading 0.17% up today at $2,317.22 per ounce. The uptick in the price of gold also goes back to the risk sentiments in the market. Gold is also considered a risk, or rather a safe haven metal. So investors are putting their money more in that than in riskier currencies like the rand. So gold is then getting that kick from that. But at the same time, then you asked what are the implications of that. I think as producers of gold, if the price of gold goes up, then it means the proceeds from the sale of gold will definitely be significant, thus boosting the economies of those countries.
Yeah, let's wrap up the commodities with Brent crude. It's on the red. Why is there a decrease there?
So oil is down today because of an industry report that came out of the U.S. of increased stockpiles in the U.S. of Brent and other oil products, thus signaling less demand for oil, as well as the higher dollar as well, because if the rate is higher, then it makes it more expensive for holders of emerging currencies to buy oil.
And how might this impact oil-dependent economies?
So as I've just said, it then makes it more expensive. Well, if the price is lower, I guess then it means that they are able to purchase oil at a cheaper price, but then that is countered by the higher dollar, because now when they're doing the exchange rate, the conversion, then they're paying more.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Toba, thank you so much for joining us. I wanted us to also look at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange as well as equities. I'm not too sure if we have time. Do we have time? Yes, we do. Here's S&P 500 on the green, FTSE on the green, JSE on the green as well.
Yeah, it's a great day today.
Yeah.
The S&P 500 doing quite well. I think we are nearing the first quarter earnings reporting season, and so far the earnings that have been reported are quite good, far better than what market anticipate.
Right.
I think of the 424 companies that have reported so far, 78% of them have performed well. So I think that's contributing to the trend that we're seeing.
Well, it's quite interesting. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on the program. We hope we'll be seeing you again next week. I'm sure the viewers at home really appreciate the valuable insights that you do provide us, Toba. With that, I want to say goodbye to you. But babukele makhasi bahlele emakethe satanivalelisa kahle asibuye emakethe.
Transact with Nedbank and stand a chance to win a 5,000 Emalangeni trolley dash. To qualify, do any of the following. Tap or swipe your Nedbank card for purchases a minimum number of 10 times in 2 weeks, or send cash to any local cell phone number a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks, Or withdraw cash using Nedbank Cashback at Till at any OK Foods outlet a minimum number of 5 times in 2 weeks. It could be you, so start today. For more information, please visit nedbank.co.nz, call or send us an email. See money differently. Nedbank.
Yep, we've come to the end of our show today. Thank you for joining us. It's exactly 3 p.m. That's it for our Nedbank Business Watch for this week, this episode.
So, see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Yeah, all right.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.
Way up high.